Welcome. It's nice to have you here.
I'm so glad you could come. This is going to be such an exciting day. I hope you enjoy it. I think you will.
Welcome, everyone. Welcome, everyone. So, if you've been watching my channel, you'll see that I put together a 3D printer. And I have a project that I want to do for the 3D printer. So, again, if you've been watching all the stuff on my channel, about a year ago, you would have saw that I got a board game called Imperial Assault, and in there are these storage crates that you basically just get cardboard tokens for these storage crates. I want to create some on my 3D printer, so that's what we're going to do today. So this should be fun and interesting. So let's go ahead and take a look and see how that's going to work. What I'm using today is Blender. I've just done some simple tutorials and that kind of stuff just to try to figure out what I'm doing. I think I've got a pretty good idea. I've done a couple little trial runs, so at least I can navigate around and do some of the things that I need to do. This is not going to be a Blender tutorial. This is just basically going to show how I created these, and if you decided that you wanted to create something like this, maybe this will kind of help you get along with that. But there you go. So first thing we're going to do, I want to get my location correct. So I'm just going to change the location here and get this more aligned with where I want it to be. Okay, so I'm got everything on 1, and basically that 1 goes off the center point here. It's the only thing I can figure. So there's a little dot. You can actually change that if you go to view, I think it is, and you go to 3D cursor. You can change this here. So I can move, maybe not. Maybe the waves goes off the center. I don't know. I'm making assumptions that I don't know much about. So let's get back to the item. So here's what we're going to start with. The way this storage crate is going to work is I'm going to create a total of 9 cubes, and I'm going to create, I don't even know how many cylinders for this, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to start off with the 9 cubes first, and then I will create a center cube and attach them all. You'll see how it all goes as we're going through this. So first thing I want to do is I'm going to soften these edges. So I don't want sharp edges. With these crates, you would actually have seen a similar crate to this in Star Wars A New Hope. And basically, when the scanning crew shows up to go scan the Falcon when it's on the Death Star, they come up with this crate. Now, I'm just making a simple square. Theirs was a rectangle, but the shapes and everything are all the same. So, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to soften these corners. And I don't know if this angle changes anything. Doesn't really look like it, so we'll just take it back down to 30. But I am going to change the number of segments, and we're just going to bump it up to 32 segments. And you can see that rounded it quite nicely. I don't know if we can change the amount. Yeah, we can change the amount. We'll go up to 1.5 or 0.15 millimeters. So there we go. We have our softened edges of our cube, and now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to duplicate this, and I'm going to do this. Oh, there we go. And then I thought I was duplicating it. Maybe not. We get this all put back in the center. Not that it matters right now. Duplicate objects. There we go. So that's how we do it. Duplicate object. All right, so the next thing I want to do is I'm going to create a new object. So we're going to be in object mode. We're going to add mesh cylinder. And we'll just kind of set this over here. Now what I need to do is get the cylinder size, the dimensions, correct. So I'm going to go 1, 1, and this one will go 4. Just because I want to make sure that it's going to be long enough. We can go to 3. 3 is long enough. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate this object, and so we have 3 of these. We're going to rotate this one, and that's going to go that way, and then we're going to rotate this one on the y-axis. So the first one I did on the z-axis, the next one I did on the y-axis. So now what I want to do is I'm going to position these cylinders on here, because what I want to do is I want to cut out notches on these. So let's start with this one, and let's go with our position. What's our position? Let's just see what 1 does here. And 1. All right, so what I want it to do is just be here in the corner. So let's go with 0 there. 0 is not what we wanted. We'll go back to 1 for that. And we'll go to 2 for this one. All right, and then this one will go with 0. Okay, so you can see how this is kind of on the corner, and what we're going to do is we're going to notch out that corner. And you'll see how that works here in a moment. Now, oops, let's take this one, and we're just going to line it up the same way. So 1, 1, and 1. So Z will go back to 0, and then for X we'll go to 0. All right, so there we have those. Those are all intersecting, and then here we go. We're going to go 1, 1, and 1. And this one we want 1 because we need it to the center to be in the middle there, so that way we have a top and a bottom, and you'll see what this means here in a moment. And so then let's go with 2 and 0. There we go. So now we have all of these intersecting all in the same area. So this part is very important. We're going to apply the Boolean modifier to the cube. Okay. And what we're going to do is I'm going to start all over. Let's just get rid of that one. Select the cube. Do a Boolean modifier. Boolean. And we're going to select this cylinder, right? And we're going to say apply. Make object data single user and apply modifier. That was the part I was not clicking on before. So now, if we delete this, we can see we have our corner notched out. Okay, so now all we have to do is do this several other times, and yeah, so let's go ahead and add another modifier, another Boolean. I'm going to select this cylinder. We're going to say apply. And for whatever reason, we only have to apply it the one time, and then after that, it keeps it. Okay, last time. Boolean. Select our cylinder and apply. Now we can delete that again. So my idea of having these all linked together did not work. So what we're going to do is we're going to delete all these extra ones, because what I will do is duplicate the one that I currently have. So we'll duplicate this one, and we need to have a total of 8 of these. There's what, 7? 6. There we go. All right, so we have our 8 of those. Now this one here, what we're going to do is we're actually going to change our dimensions of this one. And what we want this one to be is basically 4 times larger than these. So we're going to take this up to 4, 4, and 4. And essentially it's twice as large, but you'll see what I mean by 4 times as large. So, all right, so we have these positioned here. I'm going to get, and I'm kind of a stickler on where I'm positioning some of this stuff just because it's, when you start moving stuff around, it's going to be a lot easier, and you'll see that here in a minute. So with this one, we'll go with 2, 2, and 2. So that puts us right there on the corner. So now it's just a matter of positioning these. So let's go with 2. It's probably going to be a greater number than this, but I want to get in the ballpark. So we're right smack dab in the middle. Okay, so let's go with 3. That gets us out towards the edge. All right, so this is where the fun and the magic's going to happen. So we're going to go with 3.1. And the reason why is I want this to protrude out just a little bit. And so we're going to 3.1 and 3.1. Okay, so this has got the archways in the wrong spot, so all we have to do is move that. So we're going to say the yellow is the Y. So let's go with 0.1. Nope. Let's go with 0.9. There we go. So 0.9 gets us to where this block sticks out a 1/10 of a millimeter out from the edge of this big block. Okay. So it's just enough that we can see it. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and rotate this one 90 degrees. And when we rotate that, we can see that what that does for us. Now, this one we can use our x-axis to match this one. So this one will be 3.1. And then the y-axis will match as well, 0.9. And the z-axis, which not exactly sure what we had for the z-axis, but we'll just say 0.9 as well. There we go, 0.9. So this one must have been 3.1. Yes, that's 0.9. Now we can do the same thing with this one, and let's rotate it on the x-axis. All right, and that gets us basically where we already were. So let's go ahead and do 180 for that. All right, so that's at 180. Now we can do 3.1, and then the y will be 3.1, and this will be 3.1. Okay, and so z, we'll say 0.9. That gets us there, and you can see how it's starting to come together. We're going to have this one whole side done. So let's do 90, 180. Nope. Let's go back to 90. And then, all right. So this is the y-axis will be 0.9. Oops. All right. then, oops, this is probably 0.9 as well. Yes, and then this will be 0.9. There we go. So we have that one done here. Let's get this up here so we can kind of see what we're doing. And this one will go 180. Go back to 90, 270. Nope, 90. And this one will be 90. There we go. Nope. Let's go with another. There we go. That's what we want. So if we look at our positioning, we have 0.9, 0.9, 0.9. So the X is red. This will be our X-axis. So we need a 0.9 there. Y, we need we need a 0.9, and it's the Z that'll be different. So if we go 0.9, then we say 0.9, and this will be 3.1 because we need to raise it up. There we go. So now we're getting quite a few of the sides done here. Get these up to where we can kind of see them a little bit. All right. So this one, we're going to rotate it on the Y-axis. Let's go with 180. So much for rotating on the Y-axis. 0. Let's go with the X-axis. Okay, let's say 270. There we go. 270 is what we wanted. All right, now we just have to position this one. And if this is 3, 1, and then 0.9. So let's do 3.1, 3.1, and this will also be 3.1. So as you can see, that's why I put it in a very known spot, because the math became easy. It's either 3.1 or 0.9 for the positioning of all of these different blocks. So that's why I did it that way. Because why do a lot of complicated math if you don't have to? All right, so let's rotate this. Nope. Rotate on the Z maybe. There we go. And there we go. All right, and so this position here, okay, 0.9, get that correct, and nope, nope, nope. Jeez, pay attention. There we go, and then this is 3.1. All right, that's in the right position. There we go. I knew I'd eventually get there. All right, so this one was 3.1, 3.1, 3.1. All right. Nope. Oh. There we go. So now we have all of our blocks. Now we need some cylinders for the middle. So we're going to go back to adding some cylinders. I'm going to add some cylinders. And these cylinders are going to be the exact same size that we made before. And, well, not the exact same size. Excuse me, not the exact same size. So this one will be 2.2. No, sorry. This will be 4.2 because we need it to be able to go through these all the way around. And so let's go ahead and duplicate this object. And we need 3 of these again. And we're just going to rotate these again on the different axes. And now we just get to insert them. So we're just going to go with positioning this at 0. No, probably 2. Yes. 2. And 2. So you can see how, oops, you can see how what that does is that puts a center here. Before we position this, let's go ahead and boolean this. I should have boolean the first one, so that way I didn't have to worry about it. No, I don't want to boolean it, sorry. I want to bevel it. I'm going to bevel this one, edges, and we're going to say 32 for the segments, and we're going to go ahead and bump it up to 1.5 just like the other ones. And let's apply that. So you can see how those edges become softer. Let's go ahead and get that done with the rest of these real quick. Apply. Uh, apply. Okay. So now we can just position the rest of these all at 2 because we know that that's our distance away from everything. So like I said, it's simple math at this point. There we go. Now we have this little button in the middle of everything. So that right there is all well and good, but we have one last thing that we need to do, and basically what we need to do is make all of these items one single piece. So what we're going to do is we're going to union all of these. So now we come back in and we're going to go back with our Boolean again, but instead of a difference, we're going to say a union. And now what are we going to union with? So we're going to union with this piece here, and we're going to say apply. And so now you can see how the outline kind of zigzags over. That's because we've added this. Now when I select the cube, that piece comes along with it. Or see like this one here, I can select that separately. But so what we do is we get that, and then if we select just this one here, we can delete this. And that's going to remain, you can see how that still is there. We just deleted the small cube. Basically what we're doing is we're creating a new item that has those all together. So what we'll do is we'll just go through and union all of these together. Here we go. You can see that we only have one item left. It's this cube. And we can move it wherever we want, and all of those things still remain the same. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to change the entire dimensions of this to where the other one was already. And oops, I didn't want 250. I only wanted 220. 25. So basically, what I've done is I've made it 25 millimeters, which is 2.5 centimeters, which happens to be just a smidge under 1 inch by 1 inch. So um, that's basically what I wanted. I wanted this to be about an inch, because that appears to be what it is in the game, is a 1 inch by 1 inch token. So yeah, essentially what I did was I just set it to that. And the nice thing about this is not hollowing it out. I can control everything a lot easier, and I don't have to worry about it getting thin. When it prints, it'll do like this mesh on the inside instead of making it solid, so it doesn't print too much. So I don't think that it's going to add a whole lot to the printing. Maybe about another 20 minutes to a half hour, I'm assuming, and not a whole lot of extra filament. So I think that's everything on this one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and save this, and we're going to save it as we'll save it as this one, the storage crate, and I'm going to just change it to whole instead of empty. Whole. There we go. And voila. So while we're here, let me show you. So this is what the empty one looked like, right? So basically, much like how I did the cylinders and I took out the corners, basically what I did was I made another box and I just stuck it down inside of here and made sure that it was position centered, and then just basically removed it and removed that section. So that's what the other one was. And then if we look at this one here, this was the very first one I did, and I didn't round the corners. And for whatever reason, if I come in here and I try to add a modifier and a bevel, it doesn't seem to want to work. I've tried this multiple times and it came off very janky. So with that, I want to say thank you all for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed this. Hopefully you found it interesting. And if you did, leave a comment. If you didn't find it interesting, go ahead and leave a comment. Tell me what you think of all this, and maybe I will get some video of things printing for you. With that, I want to say thank you again, and have a nice day.
I'm not great at farewell, so that'll do, pig.
That's the worst goodbye I've ever heard. And you stole it from a movie.